community. We are back for another WLJ podcast episode, and we say thank you for tuning in another week after week. You continue to show up and be here. Thank you. Those that just stumbled across our video, you've made it to the community. Make sure you hit that subscribe, that like, and continue to come back every Monday.
All right, so what are we getting into today, ma'am?
So I understand the month of May means so much. One,
Don't do that.
oh, I'm doing it. One, it is definitely Nikkita White's birthday month. Woo, 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 woo. But you know what? We're going to keep on talking about that. But I bet y'all the last episode of this month, come celebrate because we having a party celebration for yours truly, Nikkita White.
Okay.
Because it's my month.
Because it's
But
your month.
we also share May. I share that month with Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And women, moms, ladies, give yourself a hand because we do a darn good job with this thing called motherhood.
Yes, y'all do.
But I don't even want to talk about the moms
What?
today.
What are we talking
No.
about then?
Because I feel like being a mom myself, we get celebrated so often.
Mm-hmm.
We get put on these pedestals so much that I want to talk about how important fathers are in a child's life.
Okay, we doing that.
We doing it.
Okay.
Mothers, I love you. I celebrate you. Have a wonderful Mother's Day. I hope you got everything that you wanted. But I want to talk about our men.
Let's go.
Want to talk about our men. And the main thing I want to talk about is sometimes, ladies, I'm not saying we all do it. So if the shoe does not fit, just sit here and continue to listen because you might be able to share these words with somebody else that may need them.
All right.
But ladies, one thing that I know I've heard with my own ears, I've heard it with my own ears. I've never said it because I don't think I can do it. But we say, I am the mother and the father. And that's where I want to talk about. Ladies, we cannot be the father. I think we do a really, really good job of trying to step in, especially when the father is not there, to help raise our kids the best way we know how. I don't know where that came from, but the best way we know how.
Right.
But we cannot replace a father. And I speak about that on two different levels.
Okay.
Now, my man is sitting right next to me doing this podcast, and he is the father of my child.
I am the father.
You are the father. So he's been there with her the entire time. But I speak from a place of my father was not there for me all the time growing up. Financially, he was there. I think he did a really good job financially, but he wasn't there as a father. And those are times that I'm like, wow, I wonder if he was here, would I do this different? Would I do this? And, I think my mom did a really good job trying to substitute as the father and be an amazing mother. But there's some things that a father needs to be in your life for. So, Mr. White, you are the father of Keyondra White.
All right.
You are that baby's father. So, tell me the importance of a father in a child's life. What you got?
Oh man, what do I have? I can definitely relate to what you were saying as far as the your father, physically not being there. I fell into that same category. So the absence of a father is definitely felt. Now, whether or not it manifests itself early on in the child's development or later on when they get grown, there's a void there. You know what I'm saying? That even me, when I think about myself, I ask myself the same question that you just posed as far as, man, what if my dad was this, or what if I spent more time with my father and stuff like that? So although my mom did an amazing job and I actually had a stepfather in my life, there's still, until I grew up and developed my own relationship with my father, there was still that little kid growing up with that piece that was missing. Not saying I was lacking a whole bunch of anything, but at the same time, it is what it is. Yeah. There was some lack there. So as far as roles of a father or what, the importance of a father in a relationship, to provide, to protect, to lead, to teach, to love. Those just to name a few. It goes even further than that. Encouraging, discipline. You know, I mean, even when you think about nature,
Okay.
and animals and things like that. You see a lion or a cub or whoever acting up around mama, daddy come in and shut things down.
And now you right about that.
So, but and even when I think about it, right? Parents, period, need to be in their child's lives.
Yeah.
Not just we understand because we see it more often as far as fathers not being in the child's life. It goes both ways. And the importance of it, if you look at the foundation or something being built from the ground up, when one piece is missing, that structure is weaker. So we play a major role. We play a major role. A lot of times we get shut down and looked over, and we were just talking earlier about learned behaviors and different stuff like that. What we got taught growing up, being independent, and just different things that can drive the partner away, with how you carry yourself and different things like that. So, but it's huge, man. It's huge. And again, it could be done. Just because something can be done don't mean that it should be done. Just because you could do it all by yourself don't mean you should have to do it by yourself. No.
I don't think no one wants to walk into, and I'm not gonna say no one because somebody probably has planned to be a single parent. But speaking for us,
mm-hmm.
I never wanted to walk into having a child alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's typically not the plan. Now, this new age where we're going, I mean, women are freezing their eggs to say we'll have a child later on when I'm ready. But how we grew up was you plan to bring a child in with a mate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever be like, oh, I'm just going to have this baby by myself and I'm going to do what I want to and I'm going to be fine. I think we get to that point because something happens on that journey where somebody no longer wanted to be there. So you feel like you got to put your big girl pants on and say, well, it's done. Now let me move forward and do what I got to do to raise this child.
Yeah, and that breeds bitterness. That breeds that woman passing on different things to, especially if there's hurt involved. You know what I'm saying?
When there's hurt,
it can pass on some rough things to their child, and if it's a daughter, that can show up later on in their relationships and things like that. So it's I know it's a tough thing to deal with when that is the case that they're having to deal with. But again, I'm glad that one thing that my mom did, she, I knew who my father was.
Yeah.
I had access to him. Now, how often we got to see each other and different things like that. She never talked ill of my father.
You went exactly what I was going to bring up.
Yeah, she never talked bad about my father. I had to grow up and see it through my own eyes and learn.
I think that's the best way to learn.
We had to learn I had to figure out my own relationship with him.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I did appreciate about her. Definitely wish I had more time with him, and learned more about him because there's a lot of things that I don't know. So again, me being older, it's still that piece missing. Even though I think I'll say it, I'm a damn good father.
Oh yes, you are.
But there's still there's still that piece.
Oh yes,
that's missing. You know what I'm saying? That connection that's missing. So
yes,
we've been talking for a hot second, and the recipient of our love that we done poured into is sitting next to us. So I'm gonna give her an opportunity to let us know how she feels about the importance of a father in her life.
And he's passed the mic. The importance
just that quick.
Of a father. After he done said he's a darn good father.
I said, damn, excuse my language.
Well,
but
you did
say
that. I was going to say darn and leave it like that. But he is. WRJ community, that's my man. And he is a great father. So, Keyondra, he done claimed and put out there and told you how great he is. So, you are his daughter.
Yep.
Is he a darn good father?
I say he is. He's pretty good. He does a good job. But no, you definitely, y'all both hit the nail on the head with everything. And fathers in a child's lives are really important. And even if like their father isn't there, having that male figure in their lives is really important. Because you're a good father, but also a good grandfather. And I like having you around Jakari to teach him the things I can't teach. Well, I can teach him, but you just teach it to him differently, or like from a like you said, a man's point of view. Yeah. So I think it's really important.
And I think that's what we said. As women, we step in if there's a gap to teach. But there's something about, I don't care if it's a little girl or a little boy, that mentorship. Mm-hmm. So Jakari has his grandfather who lives here. He also has other males in his life that we can lean on. So for any woman, it feels like they have to step in to be the mother and the father. Did they link into a mentor? Have they linked into a male role model that can be there to teach the things that no matter how we spell it out, no matter holding your hand, walking you through, and we do a darn good job, there's still something that male's point of view brings.
I think, and this not off subject or nothing like that, but I think when women use that term and claim to be, I had to be the mother and the father, that kind of backs them into a tough position, because when you're claiming that you had to be a father, that means that you had to step up in those masculine roles, and those roles that typically the male figure would have played in there, and that leads to a person being tough, trying, what I'm saying, the whole masculine energy, and that in itself, man, is nothing wrong with you being the mother and then having to step your motherhood up to another level
as a single parent.
But when you can continue to speak those things, I feel like you're putting stuff in yourself that you shouldn't have to carry. No, I'm not a father. I'm a woman. Mm-hmm. I had to do this because the father wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I think that can go a long way in just the mental thinking of, I got to harden myself. I got to protect myself. I got to do this because this not there.
That's
and
good.
Things like that. Mm-hmm. So again, I get where it comes from. I've heard it throughout my life, from different women. But I'm like, man, I get it, but you don't have to just completely step into that, or at least adopt that mindset of, I got to step into this man role, because you can't be a man. And it's things that men can teach children that, that women, I'm not going to say it can't, but it's taught differently. Yeah. There's a safety that's there when a man's involved. There's security that's there when a man's involved. Yeah. Not saying that the mother doesn't provide that, but it's a different feel. Yeah. When you with your father versus when you with your mother in a certain situation. It feels different.
Yeah. But just thinking about just something just small, right? I can recall when Keyondra was potty training Jakari. And when she started to potty train him, she taught him how to sit down. And then it came to a point that you couldn't teach him how to stand up and pee. So who did you have to lean on?
Hey. Oh, I never had to do that. So you go ahead and take that.
And it's something that simple, though, right? Yeah. Where we're like, oh, we're the mother and the father. She couldn't teach him how to stand up and pee. She taught him how to sit down, but he can't do that all the time, right? He got to stand up and go ahead and go to the restroom. So it's something that small. But I love how you said you had access to your father. Mm-hmm. You had access to him. And some people don't have access to their father at all. Yeah, whether the mother has not shared who the father was, don't know who the father was, you had access to your father. So even though, like, we are talking about Jakari, who has his father, but he lives in the house with his grandfather. And I look at him even when he's with his father, and then when his mama and father in the same place, there's a difference. There's some things he's going to run over there to his dad, and then he's going to come back over there to his mom.
Oh, yeah.
But in every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he wakes up in the morning and he comes to see Papa.
Yeah.
And even though there's times you're like, well, Grandma, I was talking to Papa. Grandma, I was talking to Mommy. He letting me know right then and there, Grandma, basically in his own words, I'm not talking to you right now. For what I need today,
Right.
I need my Papa or my mom.
Right.
He'd be slick. He'd be like, Grandma, I was talking to Mommy. I'm like, okay. I can't get offended because truthfully, in our life and in our walk, we need different people alongside us at that moment. I don't know. What you think? Your dad is a darn good daddy.
Yeah, he is. And that's good that you had access. And that's good when kids are allowed to have access, because the kid's always going to want the person that's not always around, you know? So you don't want to, like, if you're able to keep those, like, communication lines open, that's good, because you don't want to just cut it off and not let them see, because then they're going to start feeling some type of way about you.
Yes. And even with that, your dad had hit on it too. One thing we're not going to do, we're not going to bash the parent that's not here. Because when you start bashing a parent, what it can also do, it pushes you to want that parent even more.
Oh, yeah.
So y'all had a good time when y'all laid down and made that baby, so keep having a good time. Remember the reasons why you laid down in the beginning. So let's make sure that we keep that same spirit going. Like, he wasn't a bad guy when you did that. He wasn't a this, and this. So don't badmouth these men after y'all fall out or y'all no longer want to be together. If you can keep the lines of communication open, like Keyondra said, work on doing that. It doesn't do anything but helps the child in the long run.
Absolutely.
It benefits the child for mom and dad to be able to get along, be cordial, talk about what's happening in the child's life, and move forward.
Yeah, and eventually, again, Lord willing, everybody grows up to get older.
Yeah.
The child is going to start seeing things through different lenses, through different eyes. They're going to start having questions. The parent that was absent is probably going to have could potentially end up having a pretty tough conversation. I know my dad did. I know mine did as well, you know, because, you know, we got questions once we get old enough to actually process and understand everything. And being an adult now, I understand a lot more as far as, you know, we make decisions, you know, why adults make decisions and things like that. But as kids, we don't see that.
No.
You know?
You're right.
And again, that's when it comes to them getting older, building their own relationship. If everything still holds firm as far as what you saw as a mother and why you really wasn't messing with that dude in the first place, the child is eventually gonna see it.
Yeah.
You can't fool somebody forever, you know.
Yeah, right.
Especially if the parent was being honest.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
I think so. We make our own narrative, right? So I'm looking at it from like a child's eyes. You got mom looking at it from mom's eyes. You got dad looking at it from dad's eyes. Eventually, just like what you said, the kid is going to come about and be like, wow. And I remember asking my dad, why are you taking care of those kids and not with me? Why are you with them and why can't I be there? Like, we would have some tough conversations. And the last time I got to have a conversation with him, there was just so much truth that rolled out. But it was also at the time where he was preparing to die. And that's the thing. I don't want to have those conversations when you are preparing yourself to leave this world. So we would have some tough conversations, but by the time he really was ready to give me, I'm not going to say the answers I wanted to hear, but the fulfilledness of those answers. Like, be real. I am grown. I forgive you for not being there. It helped me become the woman that I am. I don't know if I would have met this husband of mine if I was with you traveling. So I forgive you, but can you tell me why? Because sometimes kids start to say, what did I do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What did I do? And they think it's something wrong with them that you chose the other side. And that can go male or female because, you know, we're talking about the men, Mother's Month, but women also walk out. Women walk out also. We don't see that as often. We typically see the men, or we talk about the men walking out, but women do it also. So just know your child's going to ask questions eventually of why. Why did you leave me to go over there? What else you got, Shell Bell? What else you got on this topic? How important? Because you had your father.
I did.
You had your father from birth on. But there was times that your dad, being military, he was deployed.
Yeah, and that it was like difference in the house as well. It was like that shift because when daddy's in the house, it's like I'm not gonna say order. It was just different. It's just different. Like I was daddy's little girl. It was like we had those moments, but then when it's just me and mama in the house, it's like I can't even explain the difference. But I just know you would get on me sometimes because I would be with my mama for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. It would just be me and you 6 months. So we would just have that little, like our relationship would be different. Then he would come back and he'd be like, okay, you're playing too much, or like you need to be like more respectful in these areas. But we just got so used to being like that, like on more, not friends, because I never considered her my friend, but just like having those conversations more.
We had a lot more like just girl time.
Yeah, like girl time.
Yeah. She in the room while you gone, you know. We allowed that. When you come home, okay, everybody got transitioned to their own bedroom.
Get out my room. That's he always say that. Even now, I be trying to lay in the bed. Get out my room.
Bye.
So.
I think he lets Shakari be in the room more than you.
Exactly.
Good. Okay. So, moms, it is our month. It really is. And again, I hope you had an amazing Mother's Day. We salute all the amazing moms out there. But dads, I don't think you always get the credit that you deserve. You are important in those kids' lives. You are very important. So if you felt like you've been bashed or can't see your child, figure out how you start seeing your child. Overcome that obstacle. Because dads, you are important in those kids' lives. I promise you are. That's it for us, you guys. So, as always, on Mondays, you can find us on YouTube,
Podbean,
Spotify,
Apple, and Amazon.
And definitely stay connected to our Facebook group because I promise you something's happening there every single day. And remember, as you are walking this journey called life, you are a key piece to your story. Guys, thank you for joining the WLJ community. Be on the lookout. See what's coming to you next. Bye.
Peace.